All right, let's talk about a huge shift that is completely rewriting the rules for B2B growth. Seriously, if you're in the SaaS world, what you're about to see isn't just some new trend, it's basically your new survival manual.
So, I'm going to kick things off with a statement that might sting a little. All that blood, sweat, and tears you've poured into perfecting your product's features, well, it turns out that might not be the key to your success anymore. In today's market, something else has become way more important.
Right? So that's the big question. If our fancy features aren't the golden ticket anymore, what is? Let's unpack the answer because honestly, it changes everything about how you sell, how you market, and how you grow. We are at what you'd call a strategic inflection point, a massive turning point. The old playbooks, the ones all about landing those big one-time deals, they're just not working. And why? Because the game itself is completely different. It's not about a single transaction anymore. It's about managing a continuous, ongoing customer lifecycle.
And just look at how clearly this slide breaks down that shift. Over on the left, that's the old world. Land a huge deal, cash that big license fee, and you're pretty much done. Success was all about getting that signature on the contract. But now look at the right. In the subscription economy, that first sale, that's just the starting line. Success is about proving your value over and over again, month after month, year after year.
So, if the game has changed, it only makes sense that the players have too. To actually win in this new economy, you have to change who you're talking to, and maybe even more importantly, how you're talking to them.
The people making the big calls now are C-suite executives and line of business leaders. These are the folks who hold the keys to the strategic budgets. And here's the absolute kicker. They could not care less about your product's bells and whistles. What they care about are business outcomes. We're talking tangible results like grabbing more market share, making operations more efficient, or crushing the revenue targets. So how in the world do you actually engage these people? Well, it's not magic. There's a really clear four-step process. First, you've got to do your homework. Deep research. No more generic pitches. Second, you tailor your entire message to their specific goals. Third, you build credibility using case studies that scream, "We deliver results." And finally, you gotta have patience. This is about building a real relationship over time, becoming their go-to guide.
Okay, so we figured out who to talk to. Now we need to completely redefine how we measure success. The old metrics, the old scoreboard, it's useless in this new game. It is time to find our new North Star.
And that North Star is ARR, annual recurring revenue. This is, without a doubt, the single most important metric for any subscription business. We're not talking about one-time sales spikes. We're talking about the predictable, recurring revenue you can actually count on. This is the true pulse of your company's health.
And what I love about this is that it shows ARR isn't just one thing. It's actually a cycle driven by three connected parts. Sure, you've got to acquire new customers, but it's just as critical to keep the ones you have, and then to expand those relationships. Growth is no longer a straight line, it's a continuous loop.
So what keeps this powerful loop spinning? Customer success. And listen, this is not just a new fancy name for customer support. In a modern SaaS company, customer success is the actual engine that makes sure your customers get the results they paid for. They are a core driver of keeping customers and growing them.
And just look at what these top-tier customer success teams are doing now. They're not just sitting around waiting for support tickets to come in. No way. They are proactively giving business advice, making sure onboarding is seamless, training entire teams, and offering constant coaching. They're not vendors. They're partners in creating value.
Okay, so you're talking to the right people. You've built this amazing engine to deliver outcomes. But there is one final, absolutely critical piece of the puzzle. How do you actually communicate the incredible value you created?
For years, we all leaned on things like ROI calculators, spreadsheets and numbers. And look, the numbers are important, but they can feel a little cold, a little abstract. The new way, the much more powerful way, is through storytelling. A great story about how you helped a real customer solve a real problem. Now that is tangible, it's memorable, and it's 1,000 times more persuasive.
And get this isn't just some creative art form anymore. The smartest teams out there are now using technology like generative AI to systematically create these custom value stories for every single buyer. This is how storytelling becomes a scalable, powerful, competitive weapon.
So, when you actually put all of these pieces together, you're engaging the C-suite, you're obsessed with ARR, and you've mastered value communication, the payoff is just immense. You don't just get a slightly better strategy, you get a real, defensible, long-term advantage in the market.
And let's look at the concrete business impact here. You're not just improving sales, you're attracting better, more qualified leads and growing that all-important recurring revenue. You're not just building a brand, you're becoming the authority in your market. This whole outcome-centric approach gives you a sustainable edge, driving the kind of deep customer loyalty that your competitors just can't touch.
This quote right here just nails it. This whole approach isn't some nice-to-have option you can think about later. In today's subscription world, it's a competitive necessity. It's the price of admission if you want to win long-term.
And really, this is the ultimate prize. When you consistently deliver and communicate real business outcomes, you rise above the noise. You stop being just another company in a crowded product category, and you start leading a market movement.
So, it all boils down to this: a three-part transformation for your entire go-to-market strategy. First, engage executives on outcomes, not features. Second, build your entire operation around ARR and actually delivering value. And third, become a master at telling the story of that value.
Which brings us to our final thought. I want to leave you with this one question to really chew on for your own business. Are you just selling a product with a list of features, or are you building a true partnership with your customers? Are you building a movement? Because the answer to that is going to define your future.